It had fallen on Archie to tell Andrew Flaxton the news. Firstly, that his son Jonathan had died of cholera on the ship that was carrying him home. And secondly, that Jonathan had taken a wife some years ago. Meanwhile, in York, after long years in prison, George Carmody, one-time blacksmith of Carliston, feels the clean, fresh air of freedom on his face. The meager bundle he carries is all that is left to him. That, and a need for vengeance.
Jonathan was married?
You knew nothing of this?
No. He spoke to me about some girl in the village.
Well, do you remember her name?
No.
This was the cause of your quarrel.
Yes. I told him he had a duty to Flaxton, that he must find a suitable wife. Someone who would be a proper mistress for Flaxton Hall. A woman of his own class, born to this sort of responsibility.
Vanessa Martin.
I threatened to disown him if he went on seeing that girl in the village. We said bitter things to one another, Archie. He kept saying that this house wasn't going to rule his life, that he would do as he pleased, and he went away, swearing that he would never set foot inside Flaxton Hall again. I never did see him again, or ever heard from him. He just disappeared out of my life.
It seems he married the girl of his choice.
Yes, out of spite.
That's not to say he didn't truly love her, is there, sir? No. And somewhere there's a lass who bears the Flaxton name.
Then in all these years, why hasn't she made herself known to me?
Like as not, Jonathan married a girl with as much pride as he had himself.
But I must know where she is. Why didn't she follow him abroad?
Only she can tell you that.
And we must find her, Archie.
They've let him out.
Who?
George Carmody.
George Carmody? The blacksmith of Carliston?
Yes.
Isn't he the one?
Yes, that's right.
High Court review of the case of George Carmody.
Sentenced to life imprisonment.
New evidence after 12 years. He was released early this morning. You swore he would never get loose. How much does that man know?
Everything, Jacqueline, everything.
And what did happen?
Does it matter?
Yes, I've got a right to know.
Local farmer accused Carmody of stealing a horse. There was an argument and a fight. The farmer fell and hit his stupid head.
And died.
As fortune would have it. And Carmody had nobody to turn to for help.
So you graciously offered.
One must make the most of one's opportunities. I offered to see that all would be well, whether he was freed or found guilty. What he did not know was that I had arranged the whole thing.
But he killed a man.
That was a lucky accident.
And at the trial?
He said nothing. I've made sure of that, too, you see. I was holding the ace in my hand. The real ace.
But now he's loose.
You'll make straight for Flaxton or here?
Then we've got to clear out.
No.
But don't you understand? We failed at every turn. We failed.
Once Carmody gets back here with the truth, we're done for.
Exactly.
Then he must be stopped. I shall have every road and path watched. I'll know the moment he gets within 5 miles of this place. In the meantime, you'll get the boy and the old man out of Flaxton Hall and bring them here.
It's impossible.
You'll do it.
What good would it do?
You can leave that to me. The old man must meet with a suitable accident.
And what about David? You can't destroy them all.
Can't I?
Don't be such a fool!
Don't call me a fool! I'm not forgetting your own incompetence in all this, and by God, Jacqueline, I'll make sure you've as much to lose as I have, so. You'll do what you're told. Won't you?
Sorry, sir.
It's all right, boy. Young Peter not about?
Having his supper, sir.
Why aren't you? Not hungry, eh?
No, sir. Sir,
Yeah?
I just wondered what's to become of me.
That's rather confusing for you, isn't it?
My
But
guardian...
until we are absolutely sure of your eventual welfare, you're going to stay here with us in Flaxton Hall.
I see.
Oh, don't you like the prospect?
Oh, it's not that. It's this house. It's this place.
Yes, I can understand. You feel that you don't belong here, eh?
On the contrary, I feel as if I do belong here. Somehow.
Oh. Well, since we can't tempt you to eat anything, may I invite you to join me in a cup of hot chocolate here?
Yes, please.
Would you like that? All right. Oblige me by ringing the bell, would you? What's the matter, boy? Jacqueline.
Don't make any move on it, it's devil. I warn you. What is all this?
Still! Jacqueline, have you taken leave of your senses? Put that gun away.
You're an old man, Flaxton. You should have died a long time ago, and then there wouldn't be any need for this.
If that thing goes off, you'll have every soul in this house about your ears. I think you'd better tell me what all this is about, Jacqueline, if that really is your name.
Coal. Fortune in coal, right here under this house. A great fat black seam of coal.
And Sir Tarquin knows about this. Now I begin to understand.
Things have gone too far now. It's all gone wrong, Flaxton. Now it's either you or me.
And what?
It's a pity you had to witness all this, Master David. Yours was to be a very different fate. Now it seems I shall have to arrange 2 accidents. It seems I will inherit sooner than anyone expected.
Do you mean that you intend to shoot us both down in cold blood, here and now? Who are you, Jacqueline?
Jacqueline? Flaxstead. It's temptingly close to Flaxton, isn't it?
That won't make any difference when they come to call your name out at the Old Bailey.
Stand back, I don't want to shoot.
David, the window. Go on, boy.
But I can't...
Do as you're told. This madman isn't going to shoot anyone.
Run for it, David!
Man was obviously trespassing. You noticed that, did you not? Aye. Trespassing, remember. Stop! After him!
By the saints, it's George Carmody.
Help me, Molly.
What's happened to you?
Sir Tarquin Stilgo.
He got to me first and still after me.
Well, we'll have to get you patched up somewhere safe. I know. Barnaby Sweet's place. Can you walk away?
Aye.
Come on, then. Oh, lean on old Molly. Oh.
Molly,
Aye.
it's time for the truth.
It is indeed, George. 'Tis indeed.
That way. Come on.
Trouble, Barnaby, lad. Big trouble.
Looks like it. Get him on the bed, Molly. Who's this then?
George Carmody.
Carmody? Oh, blacksmith of Carliston?
Straight out of prison.
Shotgun. Who did the shooting?
Sir Tarquin Stilgo.
Tarquin?
Aye. He wants that fellow dead, Barnaby.
With that gun and stay here. You come with me.
It's just Jacqueline went mad. He shot Mr. Flaxton.
Really, David? How very unfortunate. All right, lad. You! Go and fetch Mr. Jackson. He's probably skulking about the lodge somewhere. Find him and bring him here. And hurry up about it. Then what, Sir Tarquin?
If it's all the same to you, I'd rather be left in ignorance for the time being.
Question is, what's happened to the boy?
He might be anywhere.
He could have gone back to Stilgo Lodge.
Out of the question. Sarah, dear, will you stop fussing? How many times am I to tell you that I am unharmed? Frightened out of his wits, poor devil. He didn't even know that the thing had gone off.
Mr. Flaxton, you really must rest now.
Sarah, dear, please, for the last time, I'm all right. Indeed, I think the jolt's probably shocked my old heart back to its senses. Archie, we must get those policemen to help us to search for the boy.
He may have gone into Carliston.
No, Father. Peter, I thought I told you to stay in your room.
Sarah, if anybody knows where David is, it'll be Peter.
David would go straight to Barnaby's cottage,
Of
sir.
course he would, sir. Especially if he thought that Jacqueline was after him.
Then what are we waiting
That's
for?
all right, I can handle this.
I dare say you can, but I mean to be there, too.
You cackling about?
Time drags, don't it? And if you're waiting for that fellow Jacqueline, I'm thinking we'll be here till Michaelmas.
What do you mean?
Well, stands to reason. He'll be over the hills and far away by now. Wouldn't you be if you'd murdered someone?
Jacqueline will be here soon.
Why don't you get it over with? You could spare the others, Sir Tarquin.
I've made my plans. There's a foreign-bound schooner tied up in Hull, and 3 of you will be on it. You, Mouldy, Warp, the hag, and the boy.
What about Carmody?
He's finished. Whatever happens, he's finished.
Time for evensong. Vica'll be missing me. And I didn't get round to putting flowers on the altar.
That'll be Jacqueline. Come in, Jacqueline. Oh, come in, blast you.
Mr. Flaxton.
You're dead. The boy said you were dead.
The boy was mistaken. It's Jacqueline who's dead. There are policemen outside there. There's no escape for you, Stilgo.
David, are you all right? What's happening?
Barnaby! Stand back clear of that door.
Keep still.
Flaxton, your son Jonathan and my daughter Helen were betrothed. I'm right proud I was of that too. A fine young man like him. Mind you, there was no wrong with my Helen neither, understand? She'd made something of herself, she had. Worked her way up from a common smithy's daughter to a lady's companion to Mrs. Woodbine.
Did you know Helen, Archie?
I knew others, sir, but this happened after I'd left the hall.
There was a need for secrecy.
Because of my quarrel with Jonathan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Jonathan and Helen were wed. They went to Harrogate secretly. Oh, it was all done legal. I was there. And when they left Harrogate, they came straight back to my smithy's shop at dead of night. I made some room for them in the cellar, and they lived with me for a while. And one day, Jonathan come rushing in and said how he'd found himself a job and that the troubles were surely over.
The South China Trading Company?
Aye, that's it. He was to go all the way to China representing his company. So he left, swearing to Helen that he'd soon make his fortune and return to her. And they'd have a fine home away from here. I'm sorry, sir, but those were his words.
God.
Well, Jonathan left, and my last grieve for him.
Why didn't you come here?
Before he left, he made her swear that she'd never set foot on Flaxton land, and she did as she was bid.
I'd have welcomed her.
Would you, sir? Anyway, she was proud, sir. And for a while, she stayed on with me. Unfortunately, Sir Tarquin learned that Jonathan had gone away, and he knew that Helen was on her own. Some time after that, she became ill, and I had to send for old Molly here from the village to help to nurse her.
I did what I could for the poor lass, but it was no good.
She died.
Aye.
Alone.
No, not alone, sir. You see, she had her baby.
A child?
That's right, sir.
A fine, bonny baby.
Mercy.
A boy, Mr. Flaxton.
Boy. But where is he? Don't you understand? He's my heir. All this belongs to him. What happened to him?
He was taken away.
By whom?
There was nothing we could do.
Before I could lift a finger to help, I was bundled off to jail on false charges and my shop burnt down.
But who took the boy?
Sir Tarquin Stilgo.
He threatened that if I ever breathed a word, harm would befall the child.
The boy was brought up as Sir Tarquin's ward.
David, that's you. It's you.
Aye, his name is David Flaxton, Jonathan's son.
And to produce him on your death, sir.
Meanwhile, he brought Jacqueline here.
My grandson.
And right next door all the time.
Did Jonathan ever know he'd had a son?
No, he couldn't have done, sir. Helen didn't want him to know. She thought it might have put him under an obligation to return home before he made a success of his job.
And with Helen dead, there was no reason for him to return.
Excuse me, sir.
Huh?
Does this mean I can stay here now?
But of course it does. Don't you understand? All this belongs to you. Well, aren't you pleased?
I was just wondering about my friends, Barnaby and Peter. And Mr. and Mrs. Weeks. I shouldn't want them to leave now that I've moved in.
I don't think there's any possibility of that. And as for Barnaby, why, we're all under an obligation to him.
He's a very useful sort of fellow.
I believe he is.
He knows the lands hereabouts better than anyone.
And so he should. He's poached them for long enough.
Well, now, no, sir,
No,
you see...
sir, Barnaby would make a first-class gamekeeper.
What? Barnaby, a gamekeeper?
I couldn't think of a better one.
That's an excellent suggestion.
No, thank you, sir.
Barnaby, 30 shillings a week and all found.
I'm parish mouldy-warp, you see.
Yes, but you could keep on your parish duties as well.
Gamekeeper.
Oh, what's the matter, Barnaby? It's a good, respectable job.
Aye, that's just it, Mr. Weeks. A respectable job.
That about sums it up.
Respectable.
So it was that David Flaxton, came to take his rightful place at Flaxton Hall. And if there was any sadness in his heart, it was only for the father he never knew and the mother who died, giving him life. Sacred to the memory of Jonathan Flaxton, buried at sea on the 23rd day of August, 1890, and to his loving wife, Helen Flaxton, who died in childbirth on the 25th day of November, 1877. And as for the Flaxton boys, their days were long and happy.